Welcome to a new tutorial from Burton's Media Group. In this tutorial, we're going to look at how to use script canvas to make an object move backwards. In our last tutorial, I mentioned several times how including certain nodes from the node palette was going to make it much easier to go backwards in our script canvas, and that I was specifically including those nodes to make going backwards easy to implement. Well, then I didn't show how to do backwards. So here's how to do backwards and why that's so easy. Again, just as in the last tutorial, I'm in the startup game. I've created a new level and I've just simply included a primitive capsule and placed that primitive capsule on the screen. The capsule has input bindings, which we covered in a previous tutorial. I added character physics in the forward movement tutorial and our script canvas, which is movement. So let's open the script canvas, going to Tools, Script Canvas. And we need to open our previous script, which is the movement script canvas. There we go. We'll shrink that down just a little bit, make it a little easier to see. Again, right click and drag. You can move the canvas around. Left click allows you to select objects inside the environment or inside the canvas. To get things started, I'm going to select all the movement, the get world, transform, create from transform, get column, etc., and drag those down a little bit. Those are a set of programming code that I'm going to be able to reuse without having to recreate them. Then we still have our input handler, set movement, thrust, variables, get stop, etc. And we're just going to select all of those and copy them. You can either right click on them and copy the nodes, or you can do a Control-C. And we're going to just move down here a little bit and paste those back into the environment. What we have is a copy of all of the previous nodes that were used for forward movement. We're just going to make a few minor changes, and these are going to take care of backward movement as well. So let's go in and change the event name to backward. Set movement can stay the same. Our thrust got changed. Doesn't really matter because all thrust is going to do is have a -1 value now instead of a +1 to move it backwards. Let's change what's output to our console so that we know that the backward is working. Stop and set movement are both fine. So now all we need to do is create our connections to the get world transform. So out from our set movement to the end of get world transform, and from the set movement for our stop, same thing, up to get world transform. There we go. So now we have 4 nodes going to the get world transform. If you're an experienced programmer, you could consider this calling a function that took care of all of your transforms, passing it the correct parameters. So we'll do a file, save, and pull this off the screen. And now when we play our game, we can go forward and S for backward, or use your console direction pad for up and down, or for also doing the same movement. So there we have forward pressed and backward pressed. It is also changing in the console. So we've accomplished what our goals were. As I mentioned, we put those in there to make this a lot easier. If you were wanting to add strafe left, strafe right, or mouse movements, those are also easily handled. And they are covered in our book that can be found on burtonsmediagroup.com/books. We have all kinds of great resources for you to get started in making games with Amazon Lumberyard.